What's up everyone, this is Nathan from NanoRail TV. Before I get started, let me just thank you for clicking on this video. Out of all the top 10 lists that are on YouTube right now, you clicked on this one, so welcome, and I hope you enjoy the list. 2018 was a freaking weird year. It was. I've seen a few other YouTubers' top 10 lists for 2018, and I feel like for the most part, usually when you're watching those videos, you can predict what number one is going to be. This year was just such an interesting year where we got such a variety of movies where I honestly don't know what people's number ones are going to be. And I honestly don't think you'll be able to predict what my number one is going to be. But you guys know how it goes. It's a top 10 list. I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite movies of 2018. Honestly, it wasn't until really the month of December that a bunch of really good movies came out. It was weird. My whole list was pretty much solidified, and then December happened and the whole entire list changed, and so it's gonna be an interesting list. And just like every other year, I wasn't able to see every movie that I wanted to watch this year, whether it was because it didn't come on VidAngel or the movie just didn't come to my theater. So here's a list of movies that I wanted to see that I was not able to watch, and I think they could have made my top 10 list. But just like every top 10 list, I do have a few honorable mentions that I would just like to give credit to. Those honorable mentions are Won't You Be My Neighbor, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Creed 2, Incredibles 2, and Black Mirror Presents Bandersnatch. Before I get to number 10, I just want to quickly give a shout out to Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch would have made my list. In fact, it probably would have been in my top 5 to be completely honest. But the thing is, it's a different experience than any other regular movie. If you're not aware, it's a choose your own adventure where you choose what the character does. Therefore, every person is going to get a different ending than the next. I could watch the same exact movie as you, but we could get completely different endings. And since it's such a new concept, I didn't know how it compared to the movies that were in my top 10 list, so I decided to just keep it as an honorable mention. Alright, so starting out the list at number 10 goes to First Man. Once Infinity War came out, the rest of the year I was just so excited for First Man. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I wasn't disappointed. The thing with First Man is that I think it's a beautiful movie. The score is amazing. The acting is great. Plus the camera style was beautiful as well. There were a lot of scenes that felt like they were shot in the 1960s. My biggest problem with the movie is it just felt like it was too long. I'm not saying it was slow, I just think it was too long. I think they could have trimmed 20 minutes to the movie and it still would have been really good, if not even better. At number 9, I've got Isle of Dogs. The first time I saw Isle of Dogs, I was not very satisfied. I thought it was long, I thought it was boring, and I was just a little bit let down. I wanted another Fantastic Mr. Fox, and unfortunately, I didn't get one. I was a little shocked, though, of how let down I was, so I wanted to give the movie another try, because it seriously has everything going for it. It's stop motion, directed by Wes Anderson, stars a bunch of dogs. I mean, who doesn't like dogs? So I did give it another try, and on the second watch, I loved it way more. And I think it's also because I knew what to expect. I had already seen it once before, I knew things I didn't like about it, and so this time, I could almost just ignore those things I didn't like about it and just enjoy the movie completely. And so I'm glad that it snuck onto the top 10 because before, it was like in the 20s, I believe. Number 8 goes to Searching. Now I'm a bit shocked that it ended up this low on the list because when I first saw Searching, it was my number 2 of the year, and at one point, I almost moved it to my number 1. The reason I moved it down to number 8 was because it's just not the most rewatchable movie. When I saw it in the theaters, I was hooked, I was captivated in the story, and I loved the creativity behind the whole entire plot. But the thing is, once you view it once, and you know the secret, you know the twist ending, I don't think it's as good the second time. I haven't seen it all the way through a second time, but I started it the other day, and I was already less interested in it as I was the first time. But I will give it props for accomplishing such a interesting style of filmmaking, being that it's all filmed on a computer screen. And number 7 goes to a ridiculous movie about a bear that just wants some freaking marmalade. It is Paddington 2. Why is this on my list, guys? I would have never expected Paddington 2 to be on my list. It's on my list because it's a great film. It's the best Wes Anderson film there is that's not directed by Wes Anderson. It's beautiful in color, it's humorous, it just has that British humor that we all love so much. Does any of it make sense? No, but that's what's so fun about it. I was watching it and I was thinking, this is the most unrealistic movie ever, but I love it. And I thought it was a sequel that was even better than the first movie. And it's cool how it came out at the beginning of the year, and yet through all the movies that came out in 2018, it's stuck in my top 10. Number 6 goes to Mission Impossible Fallout. I feel like this is a solid movie, a movie that I've pretty much seen on every single person's list this year, and it's because it is a great movie. It really is the best action film of the year. It's just a very intense movie, and probably the most impossible mission that Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt has faced yet. Just from the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I was already hooked because they already had twists and turns right from the get-go. It was just a fun movie, and I can't wait to watch it again. Number 5 goes to one of those December movies that crept up onto my top 10 list, and that goes to Mary Poppins Returns. This movie was a blast. I loved the magic to it and the imagination feel to it. It's the same magic that you felt when you watched a Disney VHS tape when you were younger. And of course, many people are praising Emily Blunt. She deserves all the praise. She did an amazing job. And Lin-Manuel Miranda did amazing as well. I think my favorite song from this movie is the London Sky song. It's the first song that opens the movie and it closes the movie as well. It was just a worthy sequel, one that I was very proud to see. Plus, I saw this one with my best friend whose favorite movie of all time is Mary Poppins, so it was really adorable to see how excited she was watching it. Coming in at number 4 is kind of like a Mission Impossible Fallout, where it's basically on everyone's list. It's Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War was my number 1 of the year from the moment it came out up until the month of December. I'm telling you guys, December was a good month this year. My only problem with Infinity War is something that I inflicted upon myself. I got tired of it. I saw it 4 times in the theaters. I am so annoyed at this movie, but I can't help but still appreciate how great it is. They spent 10 years making this movie and they were successful in it. There were awesome action sequences. There were awesome battles. I mean, you see all your favorite superheroes in one movie. I mean, I'm a little biased towards Spider-Man. I love seeing him with all the other superheroes. And also, I feel like with these kind of big blockbuster movies, the hype is so real that you can't help but move it to the top of your list. But once the hype kind of dies down and you're able to watch it as just another movie, you notice the flaws and you notice the cheesy scenes, and that's also how it is with me. There are a few things in the movie that I've liked less upon rewatches. Namely, any scene with Black Widow's cheesy lines. Long story short, it delivered. It met the expectations that I had for it. It exceeded the expectations I had for it. The only reason it's not number 1 is, like I said, I'm just super annoyed of it right now. I just need a long break. Maybe down the road I'll move it back to number 1. But right now, it's number 4. Number 3 goes to a movie that, I don't know if it came out in December, but I saw it in December, and that is Green Book. The interesting thing about Green Book is that I don't feel like it adds anything new to the table. There are so many great racially themed movies out there, and you cringe at how this actually happened. This actually took place in history. It is horrible, and it's so sad. And so as far as that goes, Green Book doesn't really add anything new to the table. It's the same things that we've seen in the past. But for some reason, it still succeeds. Although I've seen this before in other movies, such as The Help or name any other movie, it still is successful. And I think the best thing about this movie is you see enemies become friends. I liked the story. I liked the friendship that formed. And like I said, I walked out of the movie and I was happy. It left me pleased. My number 2 movie of the year is actually the movie that kicked Avengers Infinity War out of the number 1 spot. But as you can clearly see, it's not even number 1 itself. This movie came out in December and it is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. And so you can imagine how much I adored this movie. It's literally a plot about a bunch of different Spider-Mans teaming up together to fight a bad guy. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that for a Spider-Man fan. But besides my biasness and love towards the hero Spider-Man, it was also just a solid movie. The animation style was beautiful, something that I've never seen before, and so that's honestly a big plus to the movie. But also, I loved the theme to it. Anyone can be a hero. Anyone can be Spider-Man if they want. We all have a purpose. We all have a role to play in saving the day. But I really appreciated this movie. I loved it. And you guys know I'm a sucker for scores. It had a really good score too. But my number 1 movie of the year is a movie that I haven't seen on hardly anyone's lists. I haven't even seen it mentioned, and I'm shocked because, no, I'm not shocked, because I feel like this movie just kind of passed everyone's radar. They saw it and they moved on with their lives. Whereas when I saw it, it stuck with me. It meant a lot to me. That movie is Leave No Trace. Leave No Trace is, I believe it's the debut film for Thomasin McKenzie, which she gave an amazing performance. Maybe my favorite performance of the year. It is about a father and a daughter who are living in a national park. Then basically the cops find them and they help them get back on their feet because they're homeless, they need a home. And the whole entire movie is about a daughter's undying love for her father. But the thing I love about this movie is that it explores the true love that family members have, but it also shows it at an angle of a conflicted true love. This daughter, Tom, she loves her father so much and she'll do anything for him, but at the same time she doesn't support decisions that he's making. As I was watching this movie, I was a little worried that it would transition into a movie where you find out that the dad has been raping her, or that he's been abusing her, or that he's involved in drugs. And none of that is the case. It's literally just a father and daughter who love each other and they don't want to be separated. And that was so special to me. There are so many blockbusters of the year, so many fun popcorn flicks to watch, but Leave No Trace left an impact on me that no other movie left on me this year. It was a movie that I enjoyed the first time and I absolutely loved the second time. And I recommend that you guys all check it out, because maybe it'll be on your top 10 list too. Around halfway through the year, my friend Jackson and I created a predicted top 10 of the year. These were movies that we thought would be in our top 10. We ranked them and everything. So I have 15 movies, yes, I have a top 10 with 5 honorable mentions that I thought would be my top 10 of the year. And get this, my number one predicted movie, I thought for sure this would be my number one, was First Man. Which is funny because it ended up being my number 10 at the very bottom of the list. But at least it made the top 10 list. And so for the most part, I did a pretty good job at predicting these movies. Now I'm going to do the same thing for 2019. It's going to be a lot harder though because I'm predicting at the beginning of the year opposed to in the middle of the year. So it's probably going to be way off, but I'll have a separate video for that most likely. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my top 10 favorite movies of the year. Make sure to mention your favorite movies in the comments below. Also leave any comments on movies that you think I should see. And if for some reason any movies weren't on the list and you're wondering if I saw them or not, just ask and I'll let you know. Odds are they either didn't come on VidAngel or the movie didn't come to my town. Happy New Year's!